Minister of Health and Labor, Pamela Gordon-Carty, meets with counterparts in preparation of upcoming season. Minister Christopher Waver announces launch of Sing event. But first up, Prime Minister Sylvia Jacobs gives an update on her current trip to the Netherlands. Those are the headlines for Friday, February the 14th, 2020. This is SXM Daily News. I'm Valerie Van Putten. Now for the details. Accompanied by the Honorable Minister of Finance, Ardwell Irion, and their advisory staff, the Honorable Prime Minister of St. Martin, Sylvia Jacobs, is currently heading a small delegation on a working visit to the Netherlands. Since their arrival in the Netherlands this week, the delegation has been taking part in several pertinent meetings. According to the Prime Minister, they have had meetings on a technical level with technical representatives from the Ministry of Interior and Kingdom Relations, BZK. Additionally, the St. Martin delegation met with the Minister of Interior and Kingdom Relations, Raymond Knops, and one of the subjects discussed during this meeting was the 2018 and 2019 liquidity support. Speaking to PJD2's news department, Prime Minister Jacobs also indicated that St. Martin's position regarding the conditionality of pension reform to acquire liquidity support for 2019 and the remainder of liquidity support for 2018 was shared. After the matter was discussed at length, parties were able to reach a consensus on the $50 million in liquidity support for St. Martin.
So from the day we landed on Tuesday, because of the weather problems, we arrived a bit later than anticipated. So the first meetings that we had that same afternoon were on a technical level with the Ministry of Interior Affairs and Kingdom Relations, based at CA. So our technical people met with their technical people, and that was represented from our cabinet, Minister Finance and myself, as well as the cabinet of the Minister Plenipotentiary, meeting with Minister Knops's advisors. In those meetings, a lot of groundwork was laid, and then the following day, we had the ministerial discussions, also with the technical advisors present, whereby we were able to make St. Martin's position known on the liquidity support as well as the conditions. Thereafter, we were able to meet with the Council of State, with the Vice President, the Vice Chairman, as well as our St. Martin representatives and their advisors. That was a very fruitful meeting, as of course a dispute regulation, St. Martin views moving forward with the new government, etc. were discussed. We also had meetings with the President of the First Chamber, the Senate of the Netherlands, who is dealing with the dispute regulation currently, and St. Martin's participation in that was assured, so our plenipotentiary minister will be representing us, and a lot of work will be going into preparing for that in the next couple of weeks. And we also met with the chairman of the Kingdom Relations Committee of the Second Chamber, Mr. Paternotte. Most of that was courtesy, but also discussion on the same topic and plans for the future. This morning, again, we were able to have more meetings, with a meeting prior to the Kingdom Council of Ministers meeting with Minister Knops to finalize new agreements before going in. And I must say, after a couple of days of good negotiation, we were able to still achieve most of what we had come up here to achieve. We have reached a consensus, I must say.
Now, based on the ongoing discussions, what are you hoping to achieve for St. Martin? You said that you were able to reach consensus and what have you. Yes. But what is most pressing for St. Martin?
Well, most pressing is that we, came up here with the intention to secure the 2018 and 19 promised liquidity support. It had been on the agenda of the Kingdom Council of Ministers for the last 2 times, but due to what was going on in St. Martin, we were not able to properly prepare to have that handled. We felt, especially seeing that we formed a new government and we have a new parliament already sitting since last Monday, that we can move forward and actually provide, as the 2 sitting ministers that would definitely be returning, as well as the Minister Plenipotentiary, that we could start to have those talks on a start basis. And that was very, very good. Those courtesy visits, those initial talks on how St. Martin can better be represented and our interests be secured and negotiated or more consensus found. That was very important. But where the liquidity support for St. Martin, we felt that it was being moved away, or the Netherlands was moving away from that position, and had actually requested another advice from the CFT on it. Luckily for us, the CFT continued to advise repeatedly that the liquidity support 18 and 19 that had been promised creates a big deficit for St. Martin. We have lived up to paying back our arrears in excess of 52 million over the year, and so it cannot be said that we do not need this liquidity support. So we were able to come to a consensus this morning before the Kingdom Council of Ministers meeting with Minister Bezet Knops, and now we have agreed that we will be receiving what, if you would add this 18 and 19 together, it would amount to about 50 million needed to create that buffer of 2 months within our reserves. And the conditions we discussed, we're able to renegotiate to some extent and have some discussions with CFT so that the pension reform is not being used to decide whether we get the funds or not. And we also, as the incoming coalition, have found an alternative way to deal with the other condition that had been established pertaining to MPs' deduction in salary.
With the proposed raising of the retirement age for teachers from 62 to 65, President of the Y2, Mrs. Claire Elshot, says that it is not sitting well with her members. She says that her members considers it unfair and discriminatory. She spoke to our newsroom.
Carrying the age from 62 to 65, there is parts in the law that is now stating that if a participant would go before they reach 65, they will get a penalty of 6% deduction. And our members consider that not fair, because when the age went from 60 to 62, it was optional. The option was granted to the members of the fund to be able to stop any time between 60 to 62 according to their medical condition, their wishes, etc. They would only have to notify 6 months in advance, and then they would be able to be granted pension. However, if you did not go on pension, but if you completed the 2 extra years between 60 to 62, for each year you would accrue 2% extra. In meantime, that amount of percentage that you would accrue has changed to 1.75, so it became lower. But I mean, the discriminatory factor is that it's not going to be optional. Or in the law as it is, you would be required to go at 65, and if because of whatever condition you cannot reach to 65, or you don't desire and you want to go on pension still, then you would accrue that, what they would call a penalty of 6%. That did not sit well with none of the civil servants, because when we did the joint meeting where the unions that was represented last year, and that in that joint meeting was the Y2, the WICSU PSU, the NAPB, and the APFO St. Martin, that sentiment came out. But it was not taken, and the 3 times that it went to Parliament, nobody did that amendment. We are now advocating to this Prime Minister, Mrs. Sylvania Jacobs, who is the Minister of General Affairs. We are now advocating again for the amendments to be done so that we can have our membership, more in line. Some of the things that our members deliberated on is, yes, Holland is putting pressure to carry up the age. But in the meantime, in Holland, when you reach 60, you can have a reduced work week. There are other conditions that apply. So instead of working 5 days, you work 4 days. And one of the other things was that basically with the remuneration, the way how it is being applied, it is also worrisome how it would apply to the people to go from the end salary calculation, the eindloon, as they would say in Dutch, end salary calculation to an average calculation. If you have the whole civil course is stuck from 2012, they have not received a cost of living adjustment, and some of them are even frozen in their scale in step 20, which at the beginning, when those scales were introduced, it was that you can go vertically or you can go horizontally. In the meantime, nobody was able to move out of their scale, but they would freeze them at the bottom. That is also not good. A number of civil servants, as we heard also from our sister unions, are in the wrong scale too. Like with the police, for example, we know that it is a few weeks ago, half of their position was regulated, but they are still, the justice workers are still not, how we would say, up to par where they should be. So shall we have these changes without you having the proper procedure put in place? Have people in their correct scales, have a cost of living adjustment done, because it is now 8 years since those salaries have received an adjustment, and then you can start by changing the law to, okay, from this to that. But it is for people, the calculated risk of after they have been participants of this fund, even if they receive 10%, to be able to, leave what they had, park up, and then start in the new fund, even to that is not clear for a number of persons, and that's why we had our general membership meeting to be able to give clarity.
And a meeting was held today, February 14th, 2020, with members of the WICSU, the Windward Island Civil Service Union, and the CCSU, the Committee for Civil Servants Unions, to further deliberate on the proposals coming from the floor to see what is possible and how they will proceed further.
Our commitment was that the proposals for amendments would reach to her before Monday. So after consulting with our membership as Y2, we noticed that the WICSU also had an informative meeting on Thursday. Ours was Wednesday, theirs on Thursday, and today, Friday, at 1, we will again be meeting in the grouping of the CCSU to further deliberate on the proposals coming from the floor to see what is possible to put forward. It is a struggle because seemingly the technocrats that put the law together, they are not willing to do any, even though they're telling you, yes, amendments can be done. But then why did it go to Parliament 3 times and none of the points that we pointed out was actually amended? It stayed the same thing. On the third round, or the second round, the actuary was brought in, who's a consultant, was brought in to give the presentation to convince Parliament, and we as unions, we feel that it is time that certain things are structured, because yes, we did sign, and I am not too what you call it to say it, we did sign what you call a covenant that we're going to work on the changes, but in the covenant, it is with the objective of making the fund viable and sustainable. Now, if I sign a covenant, and that is about before the hurricane, in 2017, but before the hurricanes, I signed that covenant with the vision we want to keep our funds sustainable. And now I am hearing that the fund just lost 36 million. It is something that I cannot swallow. Well, then, you know what? Within this, we cannot, as our constituency, our members, have been through the whole process of this pension fund that became mandatory on the 1st of January 1998. Prior to that, the pension fund existed, and we had a number of changes to accommodate savings to the government and savings to the fund. Right now, basically, the sustainability has to be guaranteed, but you cannot, it's not a one-way street. You cannot cut everything from the workers and don't shape up yourself. How could it be possible? I cannot digest that one. How could it be possible that the loss is 36 million? I mean, understand me good, I'm a humble servant that never saw a million in my life, but I can imagine that 36 million is a lot of money, and that is a shameful act to have to lose 36 million on an investment. No. This law and the reform of the law have to protect also that our members, when they go on a pension, they too have a sustainable pension, that they don't fall below the category. And if we know of basically what is going on right now within the dynamics of St. Martin, it behooves us as unions to also put on a strong cap and say no to certain things. And one of the things, rest assured, that I'm saying categorically no to is the pulling in of the law on due to slack.
And still to come in this edition of the SXM Daily News, member of anti-poverty platform Raymond Gisseroon announces pilot program for St. Peter's residents. We'll have the details to that story and more when SXM Daily News returns.
GEBE has been faithfully serving the communities of St. Martin, powering your home and our economy. Come rain or shine, our qualified team of professionals are working hard 24 hours a day to provide you and your family with safe, reliable electricity and water. We use the latest technologies and test our products daily to maintain the highest international standards. Our friendly staff is always there to assist you, whether in person, over the phone, or online. We are committed to constantly improving our products and services, making them more efficient, effective, and environmentally friendly to serve you better today and our next generation of clients tomorrow. GEBE, powering a brighter future.
Our friend Megawati is here with tips to save you energy. 1. Turn your airco temperature up. 2. Use a ceiling fan instead. 3. Buy energy-saving products. Save some green with NVGEB. And
wearing his Romy cap, Christopher Waver is also conducting inspections with regards to road repairs and the landfill with the many new potholes that has popped up with the constant rainfall. He says that it has the ministry's full attention.
The Department of Infrastructure will be conducting inspections together with a representative of Winthrop Roads to confirm the areas of road patching. As we know, due to the constant rainfall, it has created many new potholes and made the existing ones even bigger. Please note that it has the ministry's full attention, and we are diligently working to resolve these issues. I would also like to clarify some misunderstandings concerning my remarks last week in relation to the landfill. I would like to make it clear that the landfill continues to be a priority for all concerned. What is important to note is the hard work that the ministry has done since taking over the management of the landfill. The ministry has been conducting the necessary works, as in the daily operations, as it pertains to reprofiling the landfill and covering of the fill as necessary, using just the national budget. My comments were mainly to emphasize the hard work that the Ministry of Romy has done over the past few months to enhance the situation at the landfill, which has caused an improvement of the landfill compared to a few years ago. Don't get me wrong, we still have a lot of work to do, and we look forward to continue moving forward in the right direction with all involved.
Justice Minister Egbert Urendi Doran was able to sign the settlement agreement for some 24 cadets who were officially hired by the police force of St. Martin back in 2011. The group of cadets took the government of St. Martin to court in 2016 as they claimed issues with their start date, which according to them was incorrect, causing the decree that they received to only be retroactive to 2015. The Court of First Instance ruled on May 8, 2017, that the officers had fulfilled their duties as police officers and to the satisfaction of their team leaders. Therefore, based on this, the court ruled that new decision must be taken and the correct date should be enforced. However, this ruling was never executed. Minister Doran, after taking office last November, was made aware of the long-standing unresolved situation and immediately launched an investigation. He met on various occasions with the stakeholders, which included the KPSM management and the HR department of the KPSM, in an attempt to get the ball rolling and to honor the decision of the court, which entailed getting those hardworking men and women of the police force rightfully placed after so many years. So, on Wednesday, February the 12th, 2020, the Minister of Justice was able to proudly sign off on this document, which will allow these officers to get what is rightfully theirs. Minister Doran, speaking to the cadets, said, "It took a long time to get this important matter resolved, but I am happy that I was able to immediately put a team on it and come to a resolution in order that these officers can be at ease and continue to execute the protective service necessary to our people and our country." The minister closed by thanking the officers for their patience and dedicated service over the years. To assist the households that are still facing challenges more than 2 years after Hurricane Irma devastated the island, member of the Anti-Poverty Platform, Dr. Anders Raymond Jesseroen, has announced that a pilot program, Adopt a Block pilot program, will explore solutions with the help of the churches on the island.
As Pastor Webster of the New Testament Baptist Church, the chairman of the committee, explained, together with Samaritan Purse, the churches immediately after Irma have provided some relief to people in the different communities of St. Martin, but the households are still with needs. Households are still facing challenges to provide food for their households. Youth is still longing to get more positive activities to do. Homes are still waiting to be repaired. By visiting the households in a block, the Adopt a Block pilot project will explore the solutions for the needs in each household with the help of the churches. And they want to share the love of Christ by serving the community with practical support. The pilot project will start the coming weeks with a training for the volunteers. This is to prepare them to visit the households in the St. Peter's community. The Adopt a Block committee wants to start with one block, and then when the needs are addressed in that block, they will go for the next block. As Anti-Poverty Platform, we applaud this initiative of the Adopt a Block committee. The committee invited organizations and volunteers to connect with the committee with their slogan, "Let us do it together." And so in a meeting that we had with the committee on Tuesday evening, we got more details about the project and we were asked to support the project. With 9 of the 10 households in St. Martin having to survive with less than 4,000 guilders a month, we know that the needs of the households in St. Peter's too is obvious. And so we offered our support to the committee with the hope that this pilot project will be expanded to all the blocks, not only in St. Peter's, but also in the other districts of St. Martin.
Now turning to our weather forecast. Instability associated with an upper-level trough will enhance moisture at the lower level of the atmosphere to generate cloudy periods and isolated showers across the local area. Additionally, the Atlantic high-pressure system will remain brisk winds and above normal seas throughout the forecast period. Small craft operators and sea bathers should continue to exercise extreme caution as seas will peak near 9 feet. Now let's turn to your 3-day forecast. Still to come, Minister of Health and Labor meets with counterparts in preparation of upcoming season. We'll have the details to that story and more with SXM Daily News research.
Make use of WIB mobile banking with easy access and direct usage of face recognition, PIN code, or fingerprint. Download WIB mobile banking app and make your transaction from anywhere at any time. For more information, visit wib-bank.net/quick-login.
Minister of Health, Labor and Social Affairs Pamela Gordon-Carty announced earlier this week that in preparation of the upcoming season, ESF-10 met with their counterpart on the northern side of the island to see how the two can work together in the future.
The ESF-10, the disaster management team of the Ministry of TIAT, met with their French counterparts to discuss and exchange information regarding operations and to determine how they can and will work together in the future. The ministry is further working closely with KPSM to address gypsies on the island as well. Representatives of the ministry are returning to the island from the Immigration Expo, which is the Immigratiebeurs in the Netherlands, where they met with potential investors and entrepreneurs who may be interested in doing business with St. Martin.
I am Valerie Van Putten. Just a reminder that this and other programs are available online. Simply log on to stmartinmediacenter.com for viewing. On behalf of the SXM Daily News team, we thank you for watching and plan on meeting you back right here. Do enjoy your weekend and see you on Monday.